Preston, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Is Courtney around?
Well, she's still asleep. As a matter of fact, let me just make sure her door is closed. She's fine. She sure will be glad to see you.
Well, I want to see her very much, but I can wait till she awakens.
Yeah, well, she needs the sleep. It's the first good night's sleep she's had.
How is she?
Well, she's had some rough moments, but really, the way she's taking it and the courage she's shown. Please, sit down.
Oh, thank you, thank you. You've been here all along?
Well, she couldn't be left alone. And actually, I don't think she minded being with me.
I'm very grateful that you were here when I wasn't able to be. I don't know how I'll ever repay you.
Perhaps you already have.
How's that?
Preston, because you weren't here in Kingsley and we weren't able to get in touch with you immediately, well, I was the only family that Courtney could call upon for support. I think it showed her how closely tied we all are. And, well, I'm almost afraid to say this out loud, but I really think that Courtney and I are going to be able to get it back together again.
Jealous? Oh, come on. Jean Redland, don't be ridiculous. Well, listen, I'm going to be praying for you, though. But will I do worry? Well, I don't care what you say, honey. I just have a feeling that this Vanessa Fasson is a dangerous woman.
So what you're telling me, Mr. Foster, then, is that you are finally gaining some self-worth and self-awareness. I think that's indeed progress.
Yeah, I think I am, and that's all thanks to you, thanks to your counseling.
I do not do counseling, Mr. Foster. I merely point the way. The success or failure of your journey is entirely up to you.
Well, I would say that we're off to a pretty good start right now, though, wouldn't you?
Yes, I would. I'd say we're off to an excellent start. Although, you still have a little way to go.
Now, you know, Dr. Fasson, that reminds me, I'm so glad you brought that up because there's something I really want to ask you.
What's that?
For starters, how far do I have to go?
In Domi?
Yeah.
We don't have to go to any particular level. As I've told you before, you're free to leave the program at any time you wish.
I know that, but what I'm asking is, how do I get to the top? I mean, how long will it take me to get to the top? And how much is it going to cost? And how will I know that I'm there?
Time and money.
How much time and how much money? Yes, I guess that's what I'm asking. Dr. Fasson, you're smiling. Did I say something funny?
Mr. Foster, as you progress in the levels of Domi, you will realize that time and money are merely artificial and arbitrary commodities that man has imposed on his life to give it some sort of structure.
Oh, I see.
Think about it. Think about this. Time and money were intended to be the servants of man, but they become his master. So today you see people whose lives could be made better and more productive by the proper use of time and money, and instead their lives are ruled by them.
You know, I never thought of time and money along those lines. I never did.
Well, when you reach the pilgrim level, you'll understand all of this much better.
Yes, I understand that, but could you put it to me, put it in English for me? In other words, how old will I be, say, when I finish Domi? And how much less am I going to have in my old back pocket, you know?
You mean you've been doing all the cooking?
Yes. Truthfully, I've almost enjoyed it. In a way, despite the circumstances, I think there's some progress being made between Courtney and me.
I'm very happy for you, Vaughn. I honestly mean that.
The odd part about the whole thing is that the night after you'd left, when she came over to your house looking for you, well, the two of us got into an argument. Well, we said some pretty nasty things to each other. Some pretty final things. As a matter of fact, when she left that night, I was convinced there wasn't a chance in a million that we'd ever get back together again.
And that's the night you got the news of Phyllis's death?
Believe me, Preston, I realize what a tragedy this has been for you. But quite honestly, I think it's given Courtney a more realistic perspective.
Well, in many ways, I was better prepared for Phyllis's death than Courtney was. I've known it was coming for a long time. And in spite of the grief, there's an enormous sense of relief. You know, there's something I would like you to do for me, if you don't mind. Would you make arrangements so that I could take Phyllis back to Lake Forest? Quietly. I don't want to make a big display over her death.
Oh, no, I understand. I'll take care of it for you.
You know, the way you've pitched in here makes me awfully proud to have you for a son-in-law.
Thank you. It means a lot to me.
Well, you've done a lot of growing up the past few months. Gone through a lot of pain, weathered the storm. I wouldn't be at all surprised if that pain and suffering didn't start to pay off for you.
How do you mean?
Well, you've been able to take a man's responsibility. And that would mean wife and a family. And from what you've been telling me, it must be as obvious to Courtney as it is to me.
That sounds like a really interesting job you have there. I bet you love it.
Oh, yeah, it is. Not as interesting as your husband's, though. I mean, being a reporter on the Chronicle, that's pretty interesting. What's he working on now?
Don't ask me.
So you mean he doesn't tell you when he's got some special assignment?
What makes you think he's got some special assignment?
Well, I was down at the Chronicle, and I happened to see the board, and it said Gene Redland, special assignment.
Oh, really? Well, I'll have to ask him about that when I get home.
Yeah, do that, and give me a call and let me know.
About what?
Well, I made a little bet with myself that his special assignment was probably writing an article about Domi.
Did you say Domi? You mean...
Dominion of Man's Intellect. You know, the course that I've been taking.
Yes, I know that, but, why would you ever think that?
Well, in the first place, that day that he came into the Greenbrier when we had lunch and he fired all those questions about Dr. Fazan at me. You know, you were there.
Yeah, I mean, well, there's been a great deal of publicity about Domi lately, and frankly, I was just as curious as he was to find out what it was all about.
Yeah, but I know he's been taking a session over there. In fact, he's taken a couple, hasn't he?
Yeah, only after you assured him that she was all right.
Well, apparently I didn't do a very good job of convincing you.
Why do you say that?
Well, I mean, you haven't been to any of the courses, have you? Or is he just going to write a story?
Now, Nancy, I didn't say that Gene was assigned to do any special story. You've just put two and two together and assumed you were right.
Well, there's no reason not to assume that it's not true.
Well, no, but...
Domi is a brand new concept, and even if you haven't been, I'm sure Gene's told you all about it.
Yes, we've discussed it.
So you know how much it has to offer. In fact, if it's done right, it'd be just a terrific story. Sell a whole lot of papers.
I suppose so, but...
You suppose so, but?
Well, knowing how you feel about Domi, I don't think I should be saying any of this.
Look, nothing you can say is going to change the way I feel about Domi, so go right ahead.
Good. Because I do have some reservations about her. About the whole program, in fact.
What kind of reservations?
Well, it's kind of hard to put into words because it's a feeling I have. And it's a feeling that there's something that's not wholesome about this. Something that's maybe sinister, even dangerous about the whole setup.
Carla, you're worrying about nothing. I mean, the whole Domi method is based on a philosophy of love and honesty and peace and affirmations. I mean, Jean has everything to gain and nothing to fear. You can trust me, Carla.
Mr. Foster, one of the first things I made clear to you in the very beginning was that in the Domite method of instruction, if there are questions to be asked...
You would ask the questions. Yes, I remember you saying that earlier. And it's probably my fault for not bringing this up earlier before we started. But actually, Dr. Fazan, I really believe that I have a right to ask these questions, and I deserve an answer. You're smiling, Dr. Fazan. What did I say this time?
Do you know anything about psychotherapy, Mr. Foster?
Well, a little bit, not much, but I haven't had any, if that's what you mean.
In the field of psychology, it's a widely recognized fact that a patient who's doing nicely, making good progress, reaches what's called the threshold of doubt, a stage where he questions the whole therapeutic process, the outlay of time and money, the therapist's methods, the very therapy itself, and mostly his own progress, which he usually sees as limited at best. Interestingly enough, this almost always precedes a major breakthrough in his own therapeutic advancement.
Oh, and so that's what you're seeing that's happening with me right now?
Please sit down, Mr. Foster.
Oh, thanks.
Well, I don't pretend to be a psychotherapist, Mr. Foster, but we do use the truths from that discipline in our Domi methods, and I think it's rather apt in your case.
Well, that that may or may not be, Dr. Fazan. I really wouldn't know, but...
I do. And I also know that no pilgrim ever made great spiritual strides by counting the cost.
Well, it's not exactly that I want to count the cost. I just want to... I want to know how... I want to know if I have enough to finish the trip, that's all.
Mr. Foster, if I didn't think that you had great potential, I would say that your negative engram is beyond redemption. However, I won't yield to that temptation. When I accepted you as a pupil, I told you that I had no way of knowing how fast or how much it would cost before you could reach your full potential.
Uh-huh. Well, okay, let me put it to you this way. Could you give me some kind of idea of say, how long it takes the other pilgrims to be perfected? Just give me a rough estimate, that's all.
No, Mr. Foster, you're just insisting on being bound by the very things that are holding you down, time and money. No, I won't. I want you to free yourself from those, cast them off, and let me lead you into what lies at the very heart of Domi.
I don't understand.
Joy, Mr. Foster. There's joy at the heart of Domi. There's joy in the smallest step you make along the path to perfection. But you will lose the joy if you keep looking towards the future while being bound by the shackles from the past. To lose the joy, is that what you want?
Well, no, not exactly. But you see, Dr. Fazan...
Remember this, Mr. Foster. You have only the present. I work only in the present. I lead, admit, admonish, and collect only in the present. Now do you understand?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, Daddy.
There, honey.
I promised myself I wouldn't cry.
Oh, sweetheart, you go ahead. You cry all you want to.
I'm so glad you're here.
I just wish I had been here when you got the news.
No, it's all right. Really, it is.
At least I'm grateful Vaughn was here. I know he was able to give you a lot of support and comfort.
Who did you have? You didn't have anybody to comfort you.
Look, why don't we have a cup of coffee? Vaughn made a fresh pot.
No, thank you. I don't want anything. She's really gone.
Yes, sweetheart, she is.
I know it's true, but I can't believe it.
I think I was better prepared for this than you were. I've known it was coming for a long time. She was so sick, just getting weaker and weaker.
But you're still not really prepared for it when it happens, are you?
No. No, you're not. Especially now that I'm here with you. Your mother loved you, and she was so proud of you.
You were a good husband to her.
Oh, I hope so.
No, you were. You really, she knew that. When she came down from my wedding, she talked about how important it was to not marry the wrong man. She was warning me because she knew how wonderful life was with the right man. And she knew that because of you. I hope you remember that when you think of her.
Thank you, honey. I hope the right man has come along for you. I hope that you and Vaughn...
Oh, no. I can't think about that right now.
All right. You're right. This is not a time for us to think of the future. We'll just think a little bit of the past. You and I. Remember your mother. What a lovely woman she was. And I hope that you're able to get just a little comfort from the thought that she's finally found a small measure of peace. Oh, Phyllis. We're both gonna miss you.
I have a date.
A date?
A real date with an honest-to-goodness, male-type man.
You're kidding me.
I've never been more serious in my whole entire life. He even has a name, Alex Greeley.
Dr. Alex Greeley from the clinic?
The very same doctor. Isn't that exciting?
Yeah. Well, okay,
Yeah,
goodbye.
it's real exciting.
Hey, wait a minute. Did I
What?
just overhear? Did you just say that you had a date with...
With Alex Greeley. Oh, that's why we have to go shopping today. You and I are going to buy me the best-looking man-eating outfit in this whole entire city.
All right! That's great. Hey, does Terry know about this yet?
I don't think so.
Let's tell her. I'll phone right
Okay.
now.
You do that and I'll break you. Excuse me. I would like to use the telephone. I have to make a personal private phone call, so if you don't mind, I'd like to call first. Okay?
Brian. Ooh, how good to see you.
What was that for?
We've had some good times in the past, haven't we?
A good many. A very good many, in fact.
And I'm always open to the possibility of a repeat performance. I usually make it a point never to close the door completely on any relationship that's given me satisfaction in the past.
Oh, now you tell me. I spent the entire weekend racking my brain for someone to take to the charity ball.
Well, I wouldn't think that would be a problem for you, Brian.
Well, fortunately, I ran into an old friend at the airport and asked her, Susie Lee Burton. It's tall and tan and blonde, my own little beach bunny.
I'm sure she'll make a marvelous impression on all the people there.
I've already arranged to share a table with Ben and Laurie Martin, so conversation shouldn't be a problem.
Oh, Dr. Martin and his wife are going?
It's the first really important social event they're going to, kind of their introduction into Kingsley's inner circle.
Brian, I want you to call your little beach bunny and tell her it... Really, I don't care what you tell her. I just want you to get rid of her. Because you're going to the charity ball with me.
Whoa, now wait a minute.
No arguments. I've made up my mind.
If I'm going to break this date, will you at least tell me why?
It should be obvious to you that it was a stupid thing to do in the beginning. To attend a charity ball with the well-to-do and socially prominent leaders of the town, you must have someone with class on your arm. A role your little beach bunny would be hard-pressed to fill.
Good point.
Yes. And besides, it's important for me to see Ben Martin.
Vanessa, didn't you hear what I just said? Ben won't be alone. He and Laurie will both be there.
Brian. How can you have so little faith in me? I've overcome greater obstacles than Laurie Martin presents. I'm not intimidated by it. As a matter of fact, I rather look forward to it. excuse me. Hello?
Dr. Fazan, I'm glad I caught you in. It's Nancy Lawson here.
Nancy, I'm sorry, I was just leaving. This is what I mean by low levels intruding on my privacy. Nancy, I just can't talk to you now.
Yes, but it's very important. I have that information for you.
Information?
Yes, about the person who's trying to spy on Domi.
Nancy, if this is another wild goose chase, I want to know about it. I don't have time to waste on anything unless you have actual proof.
No, I understand. I understand completely. I'll come over and I'll just tell you what I know.
All right. Come along, I'll wait for you. Goodbye. Well, after a pretty bad beginning, it looks like this day is shaping up to be very profitable after all.